Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 191 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and believe it or not, somehow Damon too.
I'm in the car. I'm a passenger in the car. It's my wife driving, and we'll see how this goes.
Damon's in the car using a hotspot with probably, I'm going to guess, like a Chromebook with what, like headphones in with just like, you're not using like a legit mic. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Nope.
But we have
nothing can go wrong.
Yeah. Nothing can go wrong. Yeah. Foolproof plan right here. But it's the best we could do right now. So we were actually, I'll explain really quickly because I know our Patreon people know this, right? So we were actually originally going to record on a Friday night, which typically we record midday Sundays, right? And it just, to peel back the curtain for a few minutes here, right? And we were really looking at it, and it's like, D23 is happening in the afternoon. Do we really want to be a week late on talking about this stuff? So we're recording later than we usually do after all the D23 announcements. And, Damon's on the road, so we could talk about the D23 stuff because, I think that's the thing that everybody's going to be talking about. And, truthfully, there wasn't a whole lot of other news leading up to this, but we really wanted to talk about D23. So.
Yeah.
There was just so much. Can we start with television or no? Are we starting with park stuff?
Oh,
sure.
See, I didn't even put any TV in here, but if you want to talk TV, I mean, while we have you,
there's a whole Disney Plus Day stuff, and there's you got a whole heading in here, Tom.
Oh yeah, but that's more of like the perks that they're giving to Disney Plus subscribers. He's talking about like the stuff they announced, like at the TV.
Oh yeah,
I mean, we knew Strange Worlds was coming. I mean, I'm excited for that. And then again, since I don't have anything in front of me, it's called like Win or Loss or Win or Lose or something. It's the animated series about the softball team, the girls softball team. Like I've been super excited for that.
Win or lose. Yeah.
Win or lose. Yeah. That one's good. But I think that the biggest one for me is, right, we're getting, Inside Out or whatever too. Like,
I'm psyched about that. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that's definitely going to be cool.
I really loved Inside Out. It's actually probably one of my top. I think maybe might be in my top 3 of Pixar movies. So I'm pretty psyched to get another one. I think it's going to be great that they're doing that. So. Yeah,
I think so too. I started watching the Cars series as well. It's okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if anyone else started that. It's okay though.
Yeah. Okay. I know Damon, you're not into the Marvel stuff, but allow me to laugh for a moment with Trevor, at least of the way they started the Marvel thing with the whole the Rogers Broadway musical number. I don't know, from Hawkeye. Did you see that? Amazing.
that was good.
We just like literally, my sister is obsessed with it for whatever reason, and so like every once in a while I'll just send her a gif of I can do this all day, just of like the one part of the song, and so for them to do that is pretty hilarious. I'm trying to think of there was a lot of stuff announced around like Pixar and Disney animation. Like, what about like that they're doing one that's like partly watercolor, like, so they're doing some hand drawn combined with CG thing. Did you guys see that?
I did.
That's not, or is that Element? Or
Element looked good too.
Element was, yeah.
That looked good. But then there was that. What's that other one about that futuristic city? It starts with an I. I don't know. That was good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's one that they're doing with and I read a story about this. This was interesting. So this is like a I think it's an African animation studio, and they had said in like so I read this whole article about it. They actually said in like a presser, like the owner of it, the guy that started, said they were going to kick Disney's butt, and more colorful language. And then I guess Jennifer Lee, who is like above all of Disney animation now, saw that and like literally called them in for a meeting and was like, let's do something together. And so, which is weird because Disney doesn't usually do that kind of stuff, but it's kind of cool that they're doing it. I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting too.
That definitely looks like one to watch. Elemental though looks pretty good. What else was there? I listen. I don't need to see a rehash of Ariel, to be honest with you. Like, I don't really care about that so much because we've already seen it. Mufasa, like, okay, we already saw what happened, so I don't necessarily care about that either.
You know how it ends.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
It's like the Star Wars prequels.
But I feel like
the Percy Jackson stuff, Damon? Are you into the Percy Jackson stuff or no?
I mean, my daughter is, so I think that maybe we would watch it. But, I mean, that's just, whatever. I mean, I just don't like prequels in general. I feel like the Star Wars prequels were a little bit different because there was a lot of stuff we just didn't know about. You know what I mean? There was a lot more to flesh out. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You're talking about fleshing out characters rather than universe in Mufasa, I feel like. So, I don't know. But yeah, I think there was a lot of good announcements. It will be interesting to see kind of what we get.
What do you guys, I'm not into Magic the Gathering, but what do you think about Disney's kind of like version of Magic the Gathering? I'm not into it, but I'm seeing good things about the preview that they're putting out about their kind of version of it.
Wait. I have a question though.
I missed that.
You did?
Not that I missed it, but my question is that even if you don't hear me, it's still going to get put on the podcast, isn't it? In theory. Right, technology.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because it records locally and uploads. Yes. Yeah,
I love it.
So there's probably things you're saying that we're not hearing. So yeah,
that's awesome. I can say all sorts of things, and you can't argue with me. I love it.
I don't love it.
We're just gonna be having two different conversations here.
Yeah, that's not great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not great. Okay,
so you're talking about this Lorcana? I just looked this up. Okay.
Yeah, I figured you'd be all about this. So,
well, so okay, yeah. We'll have to come back to this. I need to do some reading on this before I say.
But I think there's also a new Disney video game coming, isn't there?
Oh yeah, they're doing
that looks pretty cool, and it's kind of like the hand-drawn-ish feel, right?
Yeah,
it kind of is like what's that show on Netflix? Cup and whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Is that what it's Cuphead?
Yeah. It feels like that sort of video game that they're trying to accomplish, which would be awesome.
Yeah,
it seemed a little more forgiving than Cuphead for those that have played Cuphead, because Cuphead's a hard game.
Absolutely, Disney's not going to do that, but
this reminded me more of like new Super Mario Brothers. So like you have like 4 players, like doing co-op stuff together to get through the levels. But of course, it's the 4 main Disney cast members. So
there was quite a bit of stuff though that came out here. I mean, we got a look at Damon. We got to look at Willow. That looks pretty cool, right? Like,
I didn't actually see that, to be honest with you.
Oh, you got to look, man. They
trailer
shared
for
a teaser. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big Willow fan, so I think no matter what they put out, I'm into. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely. I'll take a look at that for sure. I've been like binging Cobra Kai. So like it was tough because you have Disney announcements and Cobra Kai in the same weekend. Cobra Kai is going to kind of win out.
So then there was, they also have one called Wish as well, which is, about the whole, wishing on a star kind of thing and where the origin of that. So that's an interesting idea.
Yeah. So sorry, I was prepared to go all in on the parks news, so I'm just kind of now backtracking and looking
now you're backtracking
at the other the shows and stuff that are coming.
No, there's a lot of stuff, man. It's a lot of things. I know you're all ready for the park stuff, but there's some interesting stuff here.
I mean, we can go to the park stuff. I mean, I just felt like I like talking TV, but we can definitely go to the park stuff.
I didn't even think about, talking TV because I it makes sense though. I should have put it in there because I figured you'd want to talk about it. So, and by the way, I also don't care about this Peter Pan and Wendy movie. I'm not really interested.
Oh, I definitely do not either. I definitely don't.
Yeah, I mean, kind of to your point, Damon, it's the same thing of, just rehashing existing things.
Well, I think that's why I'm so excited for Strange Worlds, or Elementals. Like, I want something new. Like, give me something new. I don't need something that I've already seen.
Except for Inside Out 2. We're cool with Inside Out 2.
But we haven't seen that, though. Like, you know what I mean? That's not a rehash.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that Inside Out is kind of structured in and of itself, that there is a million different ways you can take it anyway. Like,
I mean, like there were, it's really interesting. If you really watch Inside Out and like, you know, read some things about it, there's a lot of stuff in there you probably don't even notice. You know what I mean? Like for like, you know, Riley, like she's driven by joy and then later by sadness, but like the father's driven by anger and the mother's driven by sadness. And like, you don't never notice that, right? Until like, it like till you watch it a couple times, and like, so yeah, there's a whole bunch of new emotions they can introduce, and they can, you know, kind of change how everything works, and there's a lot of things that they can do with it that I think is really interesting. So
yeah,
I'm excited for that one for sure. But I mean, I'm a little surprised though, because they really kind of said that they were going to stop doing sequels, but here we are. So, but whatever. But anyway, do you want to get into? Should we get into that?
All right. Well, so okay, where do we want to start?
Okay, so let's. You know what? I had sent you guys. Let's kind of start with how we can do it in the order they announce stuff, right? Like that's probably a good way to do it.
That sounds good.
So yeah, so we'll start with. And I'm just going to scroll all the way to the bottom of this post from Disney Parks blog. It did start out with, it started out with Disneyland stuff, right? So first thing that got announced is, and I've seen this misreported all over Facebook, and I think people are reading the headline and not the article, right? Is that Happily Ever After will return next year, but not the show. The show is not returning. Okay. So I've seen everyone post that the show is returning. They're making it clear in here that the song will return, but they're doing an updated nighttime show with the same song.
Okay, but that's still Happily Ever After.
I mean, sure, but it's just the song, though.
Yeah, but I mean that was kind of what hooked the whole show together.
I agree, but there was music like in between, like the Happily Ever After pieces, right? Like,
which
so
is,
they're gonna,
yeah. I mean, and that's all up to, you know, various remixes of songs and bits and pieces and stuff, which, you know, that's fine if they want to update that in between. But I think the thing is that, yeah, the actual song Happily Ever After was the hook of the show. And in my opinion is a better hook than Enchanted from what I've seen so far. So
yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. So we can skip over really to the next thing I think that we really care about. Which
I thought we were starting with Disneyland because that was a Disney World thing.
That was a Disney World thing. You're right. But the next thing is a Disneyland thing. And that's Mandalorian and Grogu will be meeting with guests at Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, not at Disney World for some reason, beginning in mid-November. And it's an animatronic Grogu. It was moving on the stage, and it's moving its ears and its eyes and all that fun stuff. And this looks like a very cool meet and greet, man. Like, I mean, I wonder if this is just him wandering around. I'm assuming it's a wander around because, like, Galaxy's Edge is
meet and greet is tough, man, because that line for that would be off the charts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I watched the live stream, right? So they came out on stage and Grogu was moving around and making noises and everything. Like, it was a whole thing.
But I feel like if you're throwing him around the park, if he's walking around the park, that is just going to stop traffic. Like,
people are just going to follow him. People are just going to follow him everywhere. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
You're going to have vloggers just following him so that they can get footage for whatever. And then anybody else. Yeah. Like,
that's true. Yeah.
I feel like this will be like some of the other Star Wars meet and greets that they had like before Galaxy's Edge opened.
That one wasn't a bad one, the way that was set up.
Yeah.
The Jawa one. Yeah.
But I was thinking more like BB-8 and stuff where they had like a specific area to meet where like.
Well, the Jawa was like that for a while in the whatever that port thingy was called.
Star Wars Launch Bay.
Spaceport.
Right?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. They didn't really say how the meet and greet's going to be, right? Like, they just kind of said that he's going to be encountering guests. That's what they said. They're going to be encountering guests. So whatever that means. But that makes me think they're going to be wandering around. Because like I said, they don't really do like meet and greets at Galaxy's Edge, right? Like all the characters kind of wander there. So I don't know. But you guys are totally right. Like, people are just going to be following around Mando and Grogu. Like, that's going to be the picture to get.
Yeah.
I'm also just disappointed this is Disneyland only. Like, why aren't they bringing this to Disney World? Like, what's to stop them from doing that?
They know what sort of people are at Disney World versus what people are at Disneyland. What?
Are you
exactly what that means.
Are you trying to say that
you know exactly what that means?
Somebody would snatch Grogu and run or something like that?
I don't know. All I know is that I feel like I see more issues in the parks at World than Land.
Come on, Tom. We don't have people grabbing cucumbers off of Living with the Land, Tom. I'm sure Grogu would be fine.
It's fair. It's a fair point. Unless you look at the police report for Disneyland, and then you'll notice that there are some bad things that happen there too. But not as many documented fights where we see video of it. So that's fair. But but listen, I will say though, when they brought this out on stage and during the live stream, it was very cool. People like lost their minds.
Maybe they can't. Maybe they only have one of them. Maybe there's only
could be the reason.
Really is only one Grogu. Yeah. So,
well, and I mean, Jon Favreau came out and said that they literally have been working on this for like 4 years to make this work. So you're right. Maybe it's just they just can't have another one, and they decided to start with Disneyland. I don't know, but I mean, Mando's gear looks pretty cool too. I have to say, he looks pretty decked out. I like it. Anything else with that one you guys want to talk about, or you want to move on to the next one?
Let's not. We have so much more stuff to talk about.
I know there's so much.
Yeah, meet and greets are kind of. So yeah, the Mando one is cool. Hulk meet and greet looks interesting as well on Avengers Campus.
So this again is Disneyland only because it's Avengers Campus. I have to say, when he first walked out, I was like, okay, that's cool. But then when I saw him standing next to Kevin Feige, and I was like, whoa, he is legit Hulk size.
Big,
like, dude, like that made it very cool when you could really see how big he actually was. And, you know, if you remember correctly, we kind of saw a preview of this. Remember, like D23, I think it was last year, where they showed that whole like exoskeleton technology that they were building so they could have giant characters. Well, this is it. Here it is. You know, and obviously he's wearing his suit from the from Endgame, right? Or not from Endgame, from Infinity. Yeah, from Endgame. Yeah,
Endgame.
He's wearing the quantum suit.
Yeah,
I'm assuming he's doing that because the suit doesn't, like the actual Hulk suit probably doesn't look good enough for it to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm betting they're just covering up some hurt there somewhere. Because why else have him in that suit, right? Like, I don't know. Just feels weird.
I think it's just easier maintenance is what it is.
Maybe.
Versus like
whatever the skin Hulk, is made of. Yeah. I will say it is very cool that he can like move his hands and like arms and everything. Although he did walk a little bit like a zombie off the stage. I will say that. But again, this is still very cool that they're able to accomplish this at all. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. For sure. All right.
More Disneyland.
Okay. So just keeping in the same vein with Avengers. So they have this, they have another e-ticket attraction coming to Avengers Campus. Supposedly King Thanos or something like that is the theming of it.
Well, so okay. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. It's we don't know what type
theme.
We don't know what type of ride it is yet, but it's based on the multiverse, and it has Thanos in it, which, you know, we thought that was done as of Endgame, but apparently not.
Well, because of the multiverse, this is a version of Thanos that actually won the battle.
Right. Okay.
You take issue with this? You don't like this? I think it looks cool. I mean,
it looks cool. I just feel it's a little bit of backtracking on the story. That whatever.
I feel like you're trying to like. Go ahead, sorry.
But the new Rick and Morty does the same thing. And Rick and Morty's the best. So.
When it's the multiverse, you can just do whatever you want, right? Like, no one's ever dead.
I mean, did they steal from Rick and Morty? I feel like.
No. Multiverse stuff has been around in the comics for quite a while, I think.
Yeah, forever. Oh, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like they kind of put it to the forefront.
It does feel like multiverse is like the thing right now, right? Because I think even DC is doing some of that too. So,
DC's been doing multiverse for a while too.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. You have Bizarro Superman from Jump.
Yeah. Well, and how many versions of the Joker have we had in the past 10 years here?
What's the series called? Something Crisis. Shoot, I'm totally blank on now, but yeah, they had different versions of Superman at one point, like from different Earths across the multiverse. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So again, this isn't like new ground that Disney's breaking. I just feel the whole multiverse thing is, to me, it's getting on the same level as saying, and it was all a dream, right? Like it's a very easy cop out for a lot of things, which, fine. Disney wants to use it to do another ride.
That's how the comic books are though too, though, is like no one's ever dead. And, they find ways to bring people back and, I feel like it's in line with what they do with the comic books. I don't know. But
this is why I can't watch all the films, because it's too confusing. Like, unless I went back and started, it's just too much work. Right. It's almost like a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. It is a lot. I will say, so they've always had an e-ticket planned for, there was always going to be an e-ticket in Avengers Campus, right? So like that's been planned for a while. It got put on hold because of COVID. And then while it was on hold, they changed the whole thing. So it was not going to be this. I think it's because when Marvel figured out what their next phase was going to be and that it was going to be all about the multiverse, they decided to incorporate the multiverse kind of characters with it as well. Based on just the picture we have here, kind of looks like a trackless ride to me, but I don't know. It could. I think the original.
Imagine.
What's that?
Could you even imagine
a trackless ride?
Another trackless ride?
It could
again.
I could be. I don't know. I really don't know. I think the original one was supposed to be like a simulator. I think it was supposed to.
Why that would be good. Simulator would be good. But if we had holograms, that would be even better.
See with the holograms. I thought they were pretty close to holograms at Rise of the Resistance in the pre-show. About as close as you're going to get. No, Damon. What
do you mean close as you're going to get? It was a screen with a video showing on it. That's not a hologram.
No, but it was like an invisible screen.
Let a hologram walk next to
Okay, well, that's fine.
But an invisible screen isn't the same thing. When you're putting something on a screen that doesn't go anywhere,
but it was 3D though.
Around.
It's like 3D. It's like,
But 3D is not a hologram. A hologram has, something that walks beside you and moves around. Okay, that's what I'm looking for.
All right. All right. Well, we're already getting.
Damon's operating on the holodeck, Tom.
Hopefully, Tom can't hear me now. When I say I'm can say stuff about him while he can't hear.
I can hear you. I can hear you right now.
Oh, darn! That's not good.
I could hear you the whole time. Yeah. I'm enjoying this mess of an episode. This is great so far.
Okay, so continuing on, just so we can get through the initial Disneyland stuff. The other big thing was they're reimagining the Pacific Wharf in Disneyland to San Francisco from Big Hero 6, which I think that's really cool that they're
I think it's cool too. Yeah.
They're redoing that whole area.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad to see some Big Hero 6 in the parks because I did really enjoy that movie, and I haven't watched the series, but I did like the movie a lot. And there's going to be a place to meet Baymax too as part of this too. So, I think this is cool, right? We already kind of talked about the Paradise Pier Hotel. They announced the official name is going to be Pixar Place Hotel. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, great. Moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about any of the downtown Disney stuff, or I don't really think that matters to most of us East Coasters, the restaurants that they're putting in there.
No, it doesn't, but I think it's fair to mention it because sure. I do know that people had been commenting, a lot of stuff had been leaving downtown Disney.
Oh, okay.
And, people were concerned about, hey, what, is this falling apart or are they not investing in downtown Disney? But having a couple of new restaurants coming in is definitely kind of a big deal. And the one actually that looks really interesting to me is I'm going to probably butcher this, but Din Tai Fung. It's an Asian restaurant out of Taiwan that does soup dumplings, which I would be this will be next time I'm in Disneyland, I'll be wanting to check out this restaurant. So I'm kind of glad that they're throwing some new stuff, bringing some life back to downtown Disney, which I think it needed.
Yeah, that's good. It's definitely good. And then the other thing is too. So there's I guess a famous bakery in Southern California called Porto's. I will say the pastry treat that they have sitting there looks delicious. I don't know what it is, but I want to eat it.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a croissant of some sort. But
it does. So it mentioned Cuban in here, so I guess this is like a Cuban bakery kind of place, which is cool. And then go ahead. Sorry.
No, just looking at the food.
Okay. And then, for you runners out there, Run Disney races are coming back to Disneyland in 2024. So you got to wait another year for that one. They also, they didn't really give us all that many updates on Toontown, right? Like they shared some new pictures, but I will say I really like the queue that they're building for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is like Mickey through the years.
Yeah.
Like,
wait, that's not there already?
No, they're building.
No, it hasn't opened yet.
No, it's being built. It's going to open in 2023. So, yeah. But they're building like this really cool queue that's like basically Mickey from Steamboat Willie on, and like it just looks really neat how they're doing it. I think that's kind of a cool way to do it, you know?
Yeah, it seems far more interactive than or like a better interactive queue than other ones at the moment. So,
well, yeah, the one at Disney World has no interaction. It's literally they kept the Chinese theater they pretty much intact in the lobby. They just have posters for the different shorts, for the different Mickey shorts, and they just change around. That's all it is. There's really nothing custom built, and this one's going to have custom built stuff, which I think is awesome.
I feel like I'm being held hostage to like Disneyland news. This is terrible. Like I can't leave. I can't do anything.
We're coming. Just give us a minute.
I'm stuck in the car just listening to Disneyland news. It's terrible.
We're getting there, man. We're getting there. Okay, so this doesn't have the pictures in this article, but so they did talk some more about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. They're saying opening late 2024. But
the model was there, right?
Yeah, so the model was there, did you guys see the picture of it at night? How cool that looked? There was a video that they played of it of how it's going to be lit up at night, and looks extraordinarily cool.
I think it's going to be cool,
but this is all still in Disneyland.
No, this is Disney World too. It's both.
I didn't see. I saw. I mean, they're talking about it. Like the announcement was coming to Disneyland late 2024. I didn't see anything about Disney World.
No, it's both. It's definitely both. Because after they talked about Toontown, they stopped talking about Disneyland and then just kind of went into a Tiana thing.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and it was.
I thought that was still part of the Disneyland panel.
Yeah,
got it.
And all the original voices are returning. For the
it does
cast,
look
kind of
cool though. Isn't there a restaurant too?
Good. So they're opening a restaurant
going along with it. Yeah,
they're opening a restaurant at Disneyland, not World. So there's going to be
I think that's the tough part. I don't understand why that's the case. Like it just would make perfect sense. I guess it's a space thing, huh? They just don't have the land for it.
I don't know what Damon just said, but I'm sure it was poignant.
We'll hear it on the playback.
Yeah, I'll hear it. I'll have to listen to the episode. I do think it would be great if they had the restaurant. I think it's more just Disneyland happens to have a space right next to Splash Mountain in order to do this, right? And Disney World really doesn't. I think they would have. I mean, they'd really have to build something unless they want to like take out Pecos Bill, right? Like that's really the only place.
I'm going to sound great on this podcast because I just say stuff and then you repeat it after me, even though I just said it. Makes me sound like I'm clairvoyant. It's awesome.
This is an amazing episode.
So is that what you just said, Damon? Was that they're going to knock?
It's literally what I just said.
That's so funny.
That's awesome.
That's so funny because everyone's just going to be like, "Oh, Tom's just not listening and repeating everything," and really,
absolutely, that's why
it's really just Damon.
For anyone, for anyone that's listening, we are listening and we're hearing Damon, but then he starts to cut out.
Yeah.
So we are missing half of the conversation.
But because of the way podcasting works, all of his audio is recorded on his computer and then uploaded later, but it doesn't mean we can hear his voice as he's saying it. So it's kind of a weird situation, but kind of funny too. So, but listen, after seeing more information about this, I think this is going to be really cool. I think there's a lot of interesting things here. If you guys haven't seen the nighttime footage that they put out there, definitely check that out because it looks very cool. Like they are redoing like all the lighting and they're like lighting up the water so it's like animated and like there's a lot of cool stuff going on there.
They're doing new animatronics, right? I think that was something that people were worried about, was that we weren't going to get new animatronics, but we are.
Yeah,
so that will be cool.
Yeah, I definitely think they're getting new ones. Unfortunately,
how long will it be out for, though? That's the question.
Well, see, that's the thing. They didn't say when they're going to close it, right? So they didn't say when they're going to close it, but I mean, it depends on how big of a refurb this really is, right? Like, I mean, obviously, if they're saying late 2024, it's 2022 right now. So maybe probably early next year, I would think. Just a guess. I don't really know.
maybe after the 50th?
Maybe. And that gives them a year and a half to do it. Yeah, I could see it. Because they're not tearing down the whole ride, right? Like the ride structure is still going to be there. They're really not making a lot of modifications to the outside. Mostly inside stuff, I guess. I don't know. I think we're going to have to I'll be interested to see when I'm assuming the Disney World and Disneyland ones are going to close like around the same time, I would guess, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair assumption because, I mean, they're on opposite sides of the continent. They don't need to stagger closing them.
They don't need to stagger. Well, I only say that because like when they were working on Galaxy's Edge, for example, right? Like those opened at different times. Now that was mostly because of how much stuff they had to destroy in order to build the parks, right? So there were different needs there, right? But I'm just curious if they're going to close them on the same day or if they're going to split it up or what they're going to do. So, all right. So anything else about the Tiana's Bayou adventure? I mean, listen, I thought it was really interesting where Disney does their homework, like their Imagineers were down in New Orleans. They were talking to locals. They have local artists doing some of the work for this. They have, cultural advisors. Like Disney doesn't mess around with this kind of stuff. Imagineering, especially, they do their work. They go out and they, get information and they make sure that they're true to the culture, true to, what this ride's really going to mean. And so I appreciate all that. And I have to say too, I think the logo looks really cool. I think it's a good logo. Yeah. I think it's a nice looking logo. So I mean, listen, they are going to have a gift shop, right? Because Splash Mountain has the gift shop right there, and I know that they're opening a gift shop, at Disneyland that's going to sell like pots and pans and stuff that you would sell for like a restaurant. I don't know if they're going to do that.
Buying that stuff, though?
Yeah.
Damon, if you can chime back in, please do so. But we've lost you.
I said, who's buying pots and pans?
I'd rather have broken up, not being able to hear Damon than no Damon at all on this. So I'm glad he's absolutely at least here for that. So, all right. So
I'm telling you, I'm going to sound like a genius on this episode.
First of all, I'm gonna skip back for a second because I'm annoyed with Josh D'Amaro and I'll tell you why. He starts talking about Figment, like being all coy, talking about Figment. And I'm like, oh man, they're actually going to do it. They're actually going to fix Figment. Like they're actually going to redo it. And then what does he do? He goes, oh, there's going to be a Figment meet and greet by the end of 2023. What is it about throwing a guy or a girl in a suit that's going to take them a whole year to accomplish? That's what I want to know, first of all.
Especially when it looks like they have, a character ready to go.
That's what I'm saying. Like what? Yeah. How? I don't understand. Like why the end of 2023? Like why so long? That just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But who's really going to that meet
the way he
greet
teased it, I was like, oh man, no way they're going to announce a new Figment ride. And then, of course, they didn't.
And then he didn't.
I got excited though for like a brief moment.
So. Yeah. I saw that too, and I was like, okay, cool. Like I'll definitely go check it out. But
Tom doesn't even.
Yeah, the end of 2023 is very weird, and it kind of lines up with a lot of the theming around a lot of these announcements. Actually, is that why is it that everything is late 2023? So going back to. And actually, let's further add to the, what the heck moment that you've already started here. With a new nighttime show is being developed for EPCOT in late 2023.
Why are they doing that already?
Got Harmonious.
We just got it.
So what? Like,
well, okay. So the thing for that is, right, they're doing a special thing for the 100th, right? Which, okay. That's I get, right? And I think part of why they built Harmonious the way that they did with all the screens and, like they can change that show anytime they want, right? Like it's malleable, like there's a bunch of variables that they can just change up and they can use all that same equipment, right? So I mean, I understand what you're saying, because at first I was like, oh, really? That's interesting. Like, and I know some people have been mixed on it, but I think generally people have liked it, right? It's certainly more than Enchantment. But I don't think this is a result of them being like, oh, this failed. I think it's more like, we want to do something special for the 100th. And so let's do something special for the 100th. That's the way I felt about it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I just feel that, that they've done this a couple of times now where it's like, that they start a new show and then, people like the show or they don't give it time to settle in. And then they're like, here's a new temporary show that we're doing for this. And it's like, maybe don't like, I understand they want to
not do that.
Yeah. I understand they want to celebrate these milestones and everything, but maybe not ripping up these nighttime shows.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You just don't want them to take it out already. I mean, you enjoy it. Yeah. And then, so, I mean, the thing you do care about though, Damon, is Journey of Water, which they're saying will open in late 2023. So
yeah,
quite a while still for that one. Yeah.
Which is disappointing. I mean, I'm looking forward to that, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Which is interesting because it feels like they made a lot of progress on it, right? Like, I bet
yeah, it definitely looks like there's a lot done, but I feel like that statue thing is going to take a while.
Oh yeah, so that was the other thing, and this isn't in our list here, but they unveiled 16 feet tall. They said statue of, it's like a mountain of Tafiti, cool. Right? So it's going to be very cool. Which you can actually, which I didn't realize, you can actually see it in the concept art. It's in there, I think. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, so it's actually right in the middle of the concept art. Somebody pointed it out, but I just hadn't noticed it before. But it's there. So we got that. We got Figment. What else for Epcot? So the rest of that neighborhood is supposed to, like, the whole middle part of Epcot, they're saying late 2023. So go ahead, Trevor. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. Most of Epcot will be done again. I get the whole late 2023 thing. Like, I feel like they're
hedging their bets.
Yeah, they are. And I guess on the whole Journey of Water, I wish that they had, I wish they would stagger these things, but I get why they kind of want to blast it all out at once. So fine.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll wait. I won't see it this trip. Fine.
We'll see it next trip. Well, no, 2 trips probably, unless you do a late trip next year. So
yeah, I think we'll do a late trip next year. But so other things to look forward to, I guess. The Hatbox Ghost is coming to Disney World finally.
Okay, well, see, I wasn't sure if Disneyland people were going to be salty about this, right? Like, because I was wondering because I thought maybe they'd be like, that's our thing. Like, you can't have the Hatbox Ghost. That's our thing. It's always been our thing. Like, no, I'm happy. I'm psyched about that.
I don't even know what this is. What is this Hatbox Ghost?
Damn, you don't know about the Hatbox Ghost? Oh, man.
No, what is it?
Okay. The Hatbox Ghost was originally an animatronic back in like 1969 that was in the Haunted Mansion for like, I don't think even a year. Like they pulled it out really early. And, people had been talking about it for years and years and years. And in Disneyland, they brought it back in, I want to say like 2013 or like in the last 10 years kind of thing. It came back to Disneyland. And of course, it's a new animatronic. It's a new effect. It's really cool. And, of course they had it in Disneyland, but, Disney World never got it, which, considering how, I know the rides aren't identical, but how similar they are, it's, a lot of people have been asking, when are we going to get the Hatbox Ghost in Disney World? And yeah, it looks like we're going to get it in 2023 finally. So, and go ahead. Sorry. Just looking at the concept art, where the Hatbox Ghost is, I feel like they're going to put it in a similar spot. Like it'll be right after the attic scene as you're about to go outside.
It looks like the attic. It looks like the attic area. Yeah.
Yeah. It's right after the attic. So like right after you see the bride, you'll come around and you'll see the Hatbox Ghost. So
Damon, the big thing with the Hatbox Ghost is that he's holding a hat box and his head disappears at one point and appears in the hat box. Right. And so like they had this in the initial, like you were saying, Trevor, they had it in the initial Disneyland ride, but the effect, I guess, didn't work very well, right? And they really couldn't figure it out again until like 2015 is when they put it into Disneyland again, because they had a hard time getting the effect to work right, and now it's pretty convincing. So, this is where it was. Almost immediately, Yeah, the Hatbox Ghost was installed in the Haunted Mansion. Almost immediately, it became apparent that the effect had failed, as the ambient lighting in the attraction scene prevented the face from disappearing fully. So, and then they tried to fix it basically until 2015. They couldn't figure it out, and so then they finally did, and it came to Disneyland, and now it's coming to Disney World. I'm really excited about this. This is very cool that they're doing this.
Yeah,
the Hatbox Ghost is kind of like this legendary thing, right? So it is,
yeah. So for those of you that haven't seen it yet, you'll get a chance to see it next year.
Yeah, exactly. I've only seen video, but I've always wanted to see this in person. So, all right. So let's see what else we got here.
No Tron this year. I'm sad.
Well, I want to go back.
I'm not even sad about Tron anymore. I'm disappointed.
Really?
I'm disappointed.
I'm sad because I just wanted to go on it on my trip in November, but I don't get to because it opens in spring 2023.
Yeah,
I feel you, but like the more I think about Tron, the more I'm just disappointed in why we had to get Tron.
What do you mean?
Why did we have to get the same ride as somewhere else? Like, why couldn't we have gotten something else?
Well, because I don't
know.
It's cost effective.
Yeah, they have.
I don't like the. Listen, if Disney wants to be cost effective, then it doesn't need to be as expensive. Like, that's my whole thing. Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't have to redesign
about Tron.
Ride. Yeah. I thought you were excited about this, though. Like, you've been so excited.
I was, because it's a coaster, right? I like the fact that it's a coaster. That's good. But Tron, like, who cares? Who cares about Tron?
I care.
No kids care about Tron. I mean, I care about Tron, but I don't think anyone else in my family is going to care about Tron.
But do you have to care about the IP to enjoy the ride? Like, I don't care about Avatar, and I still enjoy Flight of Passage. I mean, like, I don't know.
I kind of do, because I feel like everything is just a straight rehash. And why does it have to be? Like, why couldn't that be a Zootopia? I mean, obviously we're not at the right park, but aren't we at the right park? You know what I mean? Like, it could have been any other IP. You could have given me anything there except Tron. And I just don't love the fact that we're getting the same rides. Like, even the Runaway Train, it's got a different queue in Disneyland, but why does it have to be the same ride?
Well, apparently it's not going to be the exact same ride. It is going to have some differences.
It's going to be the same ride, man. Like, how much different is it going to be?
I don't know if I don't know if they're adding different scenes. They just said it's going to be enhanced, or it's going to have some different features. I don't know.
It's like saying, like, to Damon's point, it's like Pirates of the Caribbean is the same ride on both coasts. It's just variation on it.
But when they did that, when they did the other version of Pirates, it was not the same ride. You could have given, you know what I mean?
Shanghai,
like, where is that?
The Shanghai one?
Kong?
Yeah,
the Shanghai. Yeah, that would have been cool. Like, give me a Tron, like, totally different like that. I don't know, man. I just feel like there's so many IPs, and Tron's just such a weird one these days. Like,
it is a little weird. Yeah,
it's weird.
I wish it was
felt
better.
like
what, the movie?
No,
the new movie, or because the old movie's pretty good, but
the movies have been okay, but Tron has had some weird hits and misses along the way. Like, if you've followed the lore of Tron, and like they've tried to do video games, they've tried to do stuff along the way, and it just.
Trevor, did you play the OG video game where the disc throwing was like one screen? And it was just like a little square. Dude, that thing was the best. That was in the arcade, wasn't it? I feel like.
Yeah, that was the original Tron, or the Tron arcade game, and then I also played Tron 2.0 on the PC, which was actually a lot of fun, and had Lightcycle racing and discs and all that.
I just felt like, you know what that could have been? That could have been Gummy Bears. That's what that could have been.
That's
in Tomorrowland.
That's way more irrelevant.
I don't care, but like that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you're going to use the same ride structure,
I mean,
I feel like you could have Gummy Beared that one.
Gummy Bears. I mean, I really thought you were going to go with something else there. Gummy Bears of everything. Okay.
I mean, what else would you make that instead of Tron?
I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, it still looks extraordinarily cool. I mean, the whole grid lit up and everything. It
does. I mean, it definitely looks cool, but I don't know. I feel like that's an IP fail right there. Like, that's all.
Well, I still think that they were always intending to retheme Test Track to Tron, right? Like, the inside of that ride feels Tron-ish to me. But never got around to it for whatever reason. But
especially when they changed it from what it was, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like the newest version of it is very Tron-esque, right? Like, so
yeah.
And by the way, they did also announce a new Tron video game as part of D23 as well. So
Tron
Nobody's
Identity.
playing that though. Yeah, who's playing that?
I will.
I won't.
Trevor's playing it.
I am a Tron fan. Sorry, Damon, but yeah, I'm one of those few people that cares
Tron
about
is
it.
Good. I care about the OG Tron.
Okay,
that's it.
I want something. I want to believe that Tron can be better than it is. Right. I will admit
it can't be, because the technology of Tron is over and done with. Like what it kind of stood for is far in the past. I feel like, I don't know. That's the way I feel about it.
I understand that. I get it. I do want to go back to the episode a couple episodes ago, Trevor, where you and I made predictions of when the opening season was going to be. I want to see if either one of us was right, because I, for the life of me, don't remember what either one of us said.
For Tron?
Yeah, somebody asked the question. Yeah, and we guessed.
I think both of us were thinking this year. Or
were we both thinking this year? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we were being overly optimistic that they would have it out before the end of the year.
You know what, though? I don't even think at this point it's about the ride. Like, although this preview that they're showing of Just Tomorrow shows that a lot of the interior is not done yet, right? Like, you can see in this video, the part where they're launching, none of that stuff is not done, right? So they're still working on that. But I think a lot of it is about the outside now, because if you look at what they're doing, they're trying to pave the walkways, but that's not even like the big part, right? Paving, it doesn't take that long. It's that whole area where the Tomorrowland Power and Light or whatever it's called right there. I'm forgetting the name of it. It's the gift shop exit for Space Mountain that they're redoing that whole thing for the entrance to Tron, right? So to get into that area, so
that would be cool.
Yeah, and it looks like that's going to be a lot of work. You know what I mean? Like that's just that. I think that's probably going to be holding them up.
Well, you have to funneling people all around is definitely a lot of mental work, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead, Trevor.
I just realized that. So yeah, both that gift shop will be an exit point for both Tron and Space Mountain, which will make it a very busy gift shop.
Yeah, I feel like it's already a busy gift shop, honestly.
Really? Every time I come out of Space Mountain, there's not a lot of people in there. It's usually people leaving to get back on Space Mountain or go somewhere else. So
yeah, I feel like last time I was there, I waited like 15 minutes just to buy a water. But that could have been because it was during the pandemic and they were short-staffed. So could be why. What is the name of that gift shop? I'm forgetting the name of it, and it's kind of annoying me.
I thought it was Tomorrowland Light and Power.
It is, right? I feel like I'm doubting myself. But see, like that's kind of blocking. Yeah, it is Tomorrowland Light and Power. Okay, I was right. But like you see that tiny little walkway there, right? Like that's not nearly enough to accommodate the amount of people that need to walk to Tron, right? So they have to do all sorts of work to that, and I think that's kind of I don't want to say that's the holdup, but they're at the end here, right? They're doing the pathways. And they're fixing up an area that they need to be a wider walkway so that people can actually get to Tron and get all that done. And I'm sure there's stuff that they still need to do on the interior too. But so that's probably why we're still 6 months away on that one at least.
My wife's over here. She's driving, and she keeps telling me stuff while we're trying to record the podcast. She said they should just change the Tron to Meet the Robinsons as an IP. I don't know how that ride would work out.
I mean, you could.
She's very adamant about this. By
Damon's
the way.
wife making.
I'm just relaying what's happening here. She's getting very upset that it should be a very underrated movie, and that should be the IP. Just so everyone's aware.
She's just right. I mean, that is a really underrated movie. No, she's right. That's a really underrated movie, and it doesn't have any reputation, any sort of representation in the park at all. Pretty much, right?
Absolutely.
Very underrated movie. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, Damon, that new movie, Strange Worlds or whatever it's going to be, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Strange Worlds. I mean, that looks like you could probably do something with that in this ride, right? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in that movie, but based on what you've seen, yeah. I mean, futuristic and okay. I think we should do our ad and then we can continue talking about this stuff.
All right. Okay, Monera, a World of DVC company, is the industry leader for financing DVC resale contracts. Monera offers lending with the longest terms available at 12 years, the option no credit check, instant approval, low down payments, and no payment penalties. If you're thinking of purchasing a DVC contract on the resale market, go to check out their quick online quote first. You may be surprised how affordable joining DVC can be. Go to monerafinancial.com or call 317-245-8800, and when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you.
All right. Let's move on to other things here. I mean, do we want to talk about
the headset? But I think that would be bad if she was driving.
She's driving. She can't. She can't podcast and drive.
This
is a safety issue. We can't.
This is a safety issue. So she's upset because she said that I should be talking more because it would keep her awake on this drive back.
Oh God!
But I feel like it's difficult to talk because I don't have full connectivity here.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Yeah.
And they're talking about Disneyland, and nobody cares about Disneyland.
We're on Disney World.
She shrugged her shoulders. She shrugged her shoulders.
Harsh.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk Disney Cruise Line really quickly here? Because they did announce
the treasure.
Yeah. So the Disney Treasure is the new ship, which will be announced.
I think that it's going to take out, though. I think the problem is people are considering this like an extra ship. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be extra. I think it's just going to take over some stuff. I don't necessarily think we're going to get a whole bunch of new cruises. I mean, it seemed like it's okay. Listen, I always like new ships. It's always a good thing, but I don't think it's that. I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal personally.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
I mean, look, it's themed to adventure, the Disney Treasure, and it's set sail in 24. And this Grand Hall looks pretty cool. They also did announce.
Yeah, it does look cool.
Yeah, it does look really nice. I mean, they only showed us the Grand Hall and the statues of Aladdin and Jasmine and the magic carpet, right? So that's really all we got to see. I did like that they announced that the Disney Wonder is going to be going to Fiji and Samoa, which is pretty cool. And there was also, which one?
That is cool.
Australia and New Zealand too. There's going to be cruises as well. So. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I mean, we're going to lose those. Those ships are going to go to those places, which means something had to fill in because it's not like Disney cruises are ever empty.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true. They did also talk about which they haven't talked about this in a long time, but they actually talked about the new island that they're building, Lighthouse Point, and how they're having some of the locals design the pavilions and stuff. And it looks very nice. I mean, they're still far out on that.
That's going to definitely be something that pushes me to cruise again.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously when things get a little bit easier pandemic wise too, but I think the new island is definitely something that will push me. Cause look, I like Castaway Cay. It's cool.
Yeah.
But kind of been there, done that already.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem that I have with cruises. I know people love cruises and I get that part. There is this whole feeling of being disconnected, which is great, which unfortunately I feel like is starting to go away though. I think there's going to be more connection features based on these boats, which I don't love. But honestly, I mean, Castaway Cay, I need something new. I don't know. I feel like this is a good thing for them. I'm looking forward to that.
No, for sure. And it looks really nice. It looks like a really nice island and everything. So yeah, this is great. So I don't know about you.
I'm just going to throw my card out here that, the same way that Damon's no one cares about Disneyland. Nobody cares about Disney cruises. Okay, Damon.
I can respect your opinion on that.
Oh,
and I respect yours.
Oh man. Some of our Disney cruise podcast friends are going to be bummed out by that.
But this is why all three of us are on
how
here.
They go on,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't understand how they go on that many cruises anyway.
It's a lot of cruises.
Look, you guys know how I feel about going to Disney World, Land, or wherever too much. It kind of ruins the uniqueness of it. I feel like it's got to be the same way with a cruise. They did what? They're doing 22 cruises in a year or something crazy. I mean, how is that even fun anymore? And it's a lot of money for it just to be You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
I don't know. I think there's something special about cruising every couple years, but gosh darn, man, that's a lot of cruising.
Yeah, no, I agree. So the next thing here, I don't really think we need to talk about Duffy. I mean, unless you guys want to talk about Duffy.
Dude, don't disrespect Duffy. Don't ever disrespect
Why did
Duffy.
I have a feeling that you were going to have a problem with me saying that about Duffy?
Don't disrespect Duffy.
Well, do you want to talk about the fact that they're going to have that Duffy and Friends are going to have their own 6-episode stop motion animation series on Disney Plus?
I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
because I think that was the part of Duffy that was missing. To be honest with you, for a lot of people, was where did it come from? Where what's going on with Duffy? Yeah. Now we're going to get that.
Yeah. So my daughter actually has a Duffy from Tokyo Disney that our friends brought back from their honeymoon to Tokyo. They went to Tokyo Disney and they brought back a Duffy because, Duffy is huge overseas, right? Not as big here, but, there are people here that definitely know Duffy. It's just not as, I think I read somewhere that Duffy is more popular than Mickey in some of the Asian parks. So Duffy's a big deal. So
it makes sense for them to do a show here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Get exposure.
That would be good.
Yeah.
But you said I didn't see that announcement. You said stop motion though?
Yeah, it's a 6-episode stop motion animated series on Disney Plus.
I'm way better with stop motion than I am with this whole new CGI thing that Nickelodeon's doing. Like, look, man, I love Big Nate. I love the Big Nate books. They're absolutely phenomenal. But I just can't get behind the CGI Big Nate. Like, I don't love CGI as a choice. So I'm glad it's stop motion.
Yeah,
CGI Duffy wouldn't do it for me, man.
I get it. Yeah, good, Trevor.
I appreciate not everything needs to be stop motion, but bringing back stop motion because it's as an artistic choice, I think it's a good idea because
aren't they also bringing back that stupid movie that everyone loves? What is that? The Nightmare Christmas nonsense
Nightmare thing? Before Christmas. I didn't see anything about that.
I thought I saw something about a new one of those coming.
Oh, I know.
I could literally just be starting a rumor right now, but I felt like I saw something.
But, yeah, I didn't see that. Let me do some quick.
I don't know. Take that as a rumor then.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, I just Googled it, and there's no news coming up for it. So
I must have hallucinated that on my long drive today, but I felt like I saw it. So.
Oh man.
When it does come out, I broke it here first.
Okay, yeah.
Back to that.
Everyone give us credit. Yeah. You give the show credit. Yeah. Do we want to skip over the foreign park stuff or do we want to talk about this stuff really quickly here? Like the Frozen
we can skip over that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like I'm stuck here, but even with an hour left of driving, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. Right. The Frozen stuff overseas, yeah, we don't really need to talk about that. Zootopia, though, I think we'll come back to that here in a few minutes.
We will. Okay, so here's where things get really kind of interesting and weird, right? Because I'll give you my theory on why I think they're doing what they did today. So after we talk about
I think we all have theories, yeah.
Yeah, so Disney came out and they brought out Jennifer Lee, who, if you don't know who Jennifer Lee is, she's the chief creative officer for Disney Animation Studios, and they also brought out an Imagineer as well, one of the Imagineering executives, and they basically just kind of were like, so we know that Dino Land needs some love, so maybe we'll throw Zootopia and Moana there. But they were like, they weren't committed about it, right? Like they were non-committal. They were just like, maybe we'll do this. We have some concept art for it. Here it is.
Why Moana?
Well, Moana fits too, right? No, Moana fits.
I've never seen the movie. So
why Moana's all about the ocean and about nature and I feel that one fits in there. Zootopia definitely fits, right? Like Zootopia perfect. Fits. Yeah.
Zootopia 100%. Moana's kind of in a weird spot because it does, like, we have the EPCOT stuff where it does make sense.
Exactly. How are you going to put it in two parks though? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the first IP that's landed in two parks, right?
Well, absolutely. I agree, but still.
But I mean, it fits. I think it fits just based on its focus on the ocean and its focus on, destroying of the environment and like
next to living seas where they're already going to do a water feature.
Listen, I don't disagree with you, right? I think Zootopia fits better, but I also understand why they want to do Moana. They also threw out there that they were talking about beyond Big Thunder Mountain, meaning behind Big Thunder Mountain, what's there, right? The sidewalk just ends, right? So what they presented was Coco / Encanto / Villains Land. Which is
would be
interesting.
the coolest thing they could do.
Oh, 1,000%. Like this is a great idea, right? So like they're talking about, to me, this is 3 separate lands that they're going to build, right? They're going to build Day of the Dead.
The 3 separate rides areas. Like I feel like they're going to be Toy Story-ish. Like I don't think they're going to be like Frontierland-ish. And then speaking of that,
maybe like
what is the size ratio of Toy Story Land in Hollywood to like one of the original like Frontierland or something like their Tomorrowland? Like which one's bigger? Toy Story Land is smaller, right?
Oh yeah, Toy Story Land is definitely smaller.
I mean, it kind of depends on how far out you bring Frontierland, right? Like, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely smaller, yeah.
So, I mean, how big would they be?
So the idea here, though, is that you would go to the Coco area and they'd be celebrating Day of the Dead and there'd be all that. You go to the Encanto house where you could like explore all the different rooms and all that, which is, an obvious way to go, but exactly what they should do. And then, this thing that's been floating around the internet forever of having a villains land, right? So you have a whole land that's dedicated to villains. But what's interesting about all this is they just were like, what if we did all this, right? Like, they just kind of were throwing it out there. And I almost feel like they're market testing this, right? They're just being like, is the internet going to hate this or are they going to love it? Right? That's what they're doing, right?
So, Tom, the thing is, they have to do something to compete with what Universal is doing. I don't care how many new rides they put out. If they don't build something large, they're going to have a problem. So I feel like you're right. I feel like this is, hey, so what do you think? Because they're never going to be able to release anything that large in the same time that Universal does. But all they need to do is announce it.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. That something's coming, right? Yeah. Like we've said they're not going to build another park to compete with Epic Universe, right? Like they're just not going to do that because it's, first of all, that would be 5 years down the line at least, right? If not longer.
It's not effective use of their time is what it comes down to. Yeah.
I think this is a combination of them going, okay, let's see how the internet reacts to this, right? Like let's do market research because how many times they announce stuff and then they see all the negative stuff on the internet or all the positive stuff on the internet, right? So like I guarantee you they announced this and they were like, okay, let's see how the internet reacts to these scenarios, right? And there are some blogs that are reporting, by the way, that this is happening, and they made it pretty clear that it's not necessarily happening, right? They were like, it might happen. Like we're looking at this. We're in the early concept phases, right? But it just feels like they want to test the waters, and maybe like almost have people give them their direction of where they're going next. You know what I mean? It almost feels like they just can't decide what they want to do.
I agree with that. I don't see a Villains Land as being something that Disney really ever wants to do. I feel like we would all love it, but I just don't see it being something that, families and stuff would love. Because even at the end of the day, with Groot and that stupid raccoon, whatever his name is, like
Rocket,
there's like kids can kind of relate and love that. Like, I mean, villains, that's a tough one, man. Like, that's a tough one. Like, do you know how many people like freak out at Ursula? Like, we're going to make a whole land full of that?
You know what, though, man? I watched the live stream. I think people went the craziest when they announced that. Like,
so
I don't know.
This is the problem with that too, Tom. Like Damon's saying is, that's adults, and that's
that's true.
That's not everybody reacting to it. That's right. Very very heavy super fans, people that really want to see this stuff in Disney, but that's not the vast majority of people going to the parks.
Sure.
So the Encanto and the Coco stuff, I can absolutely see it, and I think Disney knows they like you guys are saying they can't sleep on whatever the next thing is. They have to get something out. And so they're just kind of throwing it out. Yeah.
So what I'm kind of thinking now, though, is now that I, kind of put a second's worth of thought into it, maybe like Diagon Alley level villain stuff they could do, right? Because that's kind of exactly what that is at Harry Potter. They kind of, funneled it all there, which is it's not a large area. Could they do a villain area like that? Yeah, that I could see. I just, again, why?
They can't go hard.
Why? Yeah, why at Disney would you do that?
Because it's been one of those things that the internet has wanted forever.
But the thing is that villains are in everything. Like they're part of the existing rides as it is.
Yeah.
Having a dedicated space for them is like Yeah, like it sounds good on paper, but when you really get down to it, it's like, yeah, you've got, a place where all these lesser known villains are maybe, and you can contain it all to one area. And like Damon's saying, make it like a Diagon Alley thing where it's, everyone knows what is. And I guess kind of the same way as like we have Tower of Terror where, that's not, not everybody goes on that, or, they know that kind of stuff is not, appropriate for all audiences. But yeah, there is a whole part about if they don't give it enough space, if it basically turns into a gift shop with villain stuff, people are just going to go, why did you even bother in the first place?
Yeah.
So
I think the interesting thing here though too is like, so people have thought that Disney had designed a villain's land before, right? Which they had not. But there was a thing that was floating around the internet for the longest time that Disney scrapped this villain's land that they had designed, but it was never true, right? Like it was always a fake thing. It was like a Mandela effect thing, right? Where it's like people for some reason remember this happening, but it didn't. And Imagineering has said over and over, is like, no, we've never designed a villain's land. That was never a thing. And some of it gets conflated with the Beastly Kingdom stuff, right? Which was a real thing, right? The Beastly Kingdom was supposed to be a land at Animal Kingdom that did get canceled, right? But it's, for some reason, the internet was convinced for a while that they were supposed to build a villain's land, but they never were, right? And so for the longest time, this has been like an obsession of the internet, is this villain's kingdom. And so in a way, it's like Disney being like, okay, well, maybe we can indulge that, right? Like maybe, because people do like villains, right? Like, and I think they're embracing that. Because they obviously did Top of the World, they changed that to villains, and they've started to do the villain stuff at like the parties and stuff like that, and they've been doing meet and greets with the villains. So like I feel like they've been somewhat embracing that, but to build a whole land to it, I mean, I'm surprised by it, but if they're going to throw it in the corner of Magic Kingdom, I'm not against it. I don't think it's a terrible idea. And I liked some of the ideas here too for Encanto and for Coco. I mean, Coco was a great movie, and so was Encanto. I really enjoyed Encanto as well. Yeah, I'm in for both of those. That's great. I'm much
more excited about those as prospects, and putting them together is like, I know culturally they are very different. Like that's don't just so people aren't thinking about it that way. Coco is one thing, Encanto is something else, but they can put it as part of, adventure and, Frontierland, adventure, fantasy. Like it does fit all the themes of Magic Kingdom. So, why not put it there? And why not, it doesn't have to be, I think the way they're saying, Frontier Beyond is kind of like, it's kind of a nice way of saying, it can be anything else. Right.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
And I'm fine with that, but like I said, but then I feel like they kind of threw the villains thing out there, like you said. This is just them trying to do stuff or trying to see what will work and what won't work, or what people will be hyped about. I think too, like I was actually thinking about this earlier as I was reading all these announcements. We are hitting that point right now where I realized this was going to happen, but I didn't realize how far into the middle of it we were, where, a lot of stuff, all the stuff from pre-COVID is kind of done. Like they're finishing it up.
Sure.
And we're hitting this
except for the stuff
lull.
that they paused. Except for the stuff they paused,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. But we're hitting this lull right now where it's like, we don't know what's next. And so, I think they realized they had to, and like we talked about this on previous podcasts, that, they do have to say something else is coming, but I think they did it in such a way that, they left it open that, this is, we could talk about this in a year and it could be totally different than what any of us were thinking. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I get why they had to put it out there because, like to what Damon was saying, I don't think, they don't have to directly compete with Universal and all that, but if they don't say something,
why don't they?
Well,
I feel like they do have to directly compete with Universal.
Well, but they don't have to play a game of tennis with them. Like, it doesn't have to be, well, because they're...
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, like that's what I mean, is that, this is not, this is their way of saying, we are thinking about the next thing and we are competing, but they're not doing it by just responding to Universal.
Yeah. I'm just a little surprised that they did it this way, right? Like, but... I guess I shouldn't be, right? Like, it's just an interesting way for them to go about stuff. They were, where they were like ideating in public. It's just weird. But I'm not against it. Like, I think Trevor and Damon, I think we've talked about them putting Zootopia in Dino Land before. Like, I'm pretty sure we've said that. Yeah. Like, it's pretty obvious, right? So, and, also, truth be told, by the way, and I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but they showed the ride vehicle for the Zootopia ride that's coming to one of the overseas parks. It looks like the Time Rover. It looks like the same ride vehicle as Dinosaur. They could just overlay. I mean, they could just do an overlay and do the same ride. Yep. Just saying. Because I
love Dinosaur, though.
I do, too.
But see, Dinosaurs, to my point of why you don't have a villain's world.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That ride ruins kids' childhood. It does.
Yeah, my sister is 35 years old and is terrified of that ride. So
absolutely.
It needs. I would be 100% fine with that getting an overlay, because it's the worst version of Indiana Jones.
Well, yeah.
But it also needs to be smoother. Like I said, I when I wrote it this last time, I was surprised at how beat up that ride made me feel. And I mean, obviously getting older, right, is part of that. But I was still like, man, that's kind of a rough ride. Like, that really is.
Yeah. And I mean, look, if you Google Zootopia ride vehicle, it looks like the ride vehicle to me. It's that same kind of,
So what's your story? You gotta shoehorn it into that ride. What do you do?
Well, what do you mean? Like, I'm just saying they could theoretically just take.
But I'm saying if you make it Zootopia, what are you doing there? Like,
I don't know.
What's the story?
I don't know what they're doing in Shanghai. So whatever they're doing in Shanghai.
I'm not saying that we know that. I'm just saying, what would your story be?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, it looks like you're in a police cruiser, so I'm guessing there's a police chase involved here. Maybe like you're
and all the shaking could be like a rough road.
Yeah, rough road. You're going into an
unpaved road.
Yeah, you're going into the icy area of Zootopia. Start sliding and
This is easy. You're chasing down Flash. That's the whole ride.
Go. You're chasing down Flash, but he's slow though.
But that's it. Like that is so easily the ride.
But here, look. I mean, I'll send you guys in the chat here, and you tell me this isn't the same ride vehicle.
I can't say it, but
I'm looking at it right now, and
it's a Time Rover, man. It is.
It does, yeah,
yeah. It's so. I mean, they could absolutely do this. They could overlay it if that's the area they're going to put it in. I mean, I could see it. So I just, this whole thing of just coming up with this idea in public, I mean, these just being like, hey, here's what we're thinking. I also think I think Disney's being a little hesitant on investing in the parks because they don't know what tourism is going to look like in the next year or so, right? Like, they don't know what the economies of the world are going to look like. They don't know what tourism is going to look like. And I think they're a little bit scared to make investments at the moment.
But has that really ever affected Disney? Like, there's always going to be those percentage of people that are going to go, right? That percentage may change, but at the end of the day, I don't necessarily know if they're driven by that. I mean, the pandemic was the only time, right, that we really remember where they weren't making money hand over fist. And that was just something they couldn't control. That wasn't based on a recession.
Yeah, but I mean, they can't. There's been times where they've canceled things, right?
Yeah, but I think that's more based on world events than world economy. I feel like, I don't know. That's just my
maybe. No, I don't know. Yeah. Listen, I'm just trying to speculate because we didn't get any announcements really of new rides, right? We got one for Disneyland, but everything else we kind of
it is weird, right?
Yeah, which I'm a little surprised by, but not that surprised by, because the other thing is Disney they don't announce everything at D23, right? They have a very specific plan.
Well, they already said, right? There was some stuff that they were going to hold back for Comic-Con, right? That was television based or stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they just don't. They're very careful about this, and they've made major ride announcements and major land announcements outside of D23 all the time, right? Like it's they're very focused on specific things at D23, and then they're very happy to announce other things at other times, right? So like it doesn't mean just because they didn't announce an e-ticket attraction at D23 for Disney World, it doesn't mean they're not going to announce one 3 weeks from now. You know what I mean?
And
they could.
If I was them, I hold them in my hip pocket when Universal announces stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Because listen, I understand you guys might have a differing opinion on this, but dude, Disney is 100% competing with Universal all the time.
Oh,
I think they
agree.
have to have stuff in their pocket.
I just don't think they're doing a like I said. I just don't think that back and forth game is what Disney's all about. I think that they pick and choose.
But I think as people kind of get that feeling of things not happening at Disney, it's always great to be able to announce something rather than have Universal announce something and then have nothing and announce later. I don't know. That's just kind of the way I feel. Well, I'm actually more surprised that Disney hasn't done more, especially with that Universal announcement, because I think that's going to be pretty big, man. And if you're talking about having a villain area, I mean, they're Universal's kind of going that way, right? And then you have Hollywood horror, like
doing like a monster.
I don't know if Disney is holding stuff back to announce, or if Disney is going to finally decide that we don't care what they're doing. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know where that goes, but there's a lot of money involved. That's for sure.
Well, see, I mean, I think Disney's always been, and Universal too. They've actually said this before. They've both been of the opinion of more people in Orlando is good for both of them, right? Like, so Universal opening a new park, there are going to be people that only go to Universal, but there's also people that are going to also spend days in Disney, right? Like they're going to go Universal for a couple of days, they're going to go to Disney for a couple of days. So I think Disney, yes, is in direct competition with them, but I also think that they view any new attractions in the Orlando area to be beneficial to them. As it just brings people to the area, and will give people an excuse to visit both them and Universal, or just them, or just Universal. Like that's, I mean, they've come out and said that before, where they're okay with that. They almost have like a weird, like, I don't know, it's almost like a stalemate. But to your point, Damon, they do definitely play a PR war. Like they do that. Like that is a thing that they will do, right? But
I feel like what Damon was saying is I don't think it's necessarily that Disney wants to announce stuff when Universal announces it, but I feel like it's they want things to come out, or they want to announce things when it's like Universal is hyping up for this thing, and Disney wants to. I feel they want to deflate that hype, which means not always, like sometimes it's waiting until Universal is close to announcing, or not announcing, but releasing their next thing, and then Disney will be like, hey, we got your next, we got the bigger thing coming, or we got, the next thing coming here. So it kind of takes the wind out of Universal sales, because, people stop focusing on whatever Universal is doing and go, oh, Disney said something. What's Disney saying? Right. And then, it kind of forces, like you were saying, Tom, it forces that, people will start with, I'm going to Universal for this thing, but then, oh, maybe I'll go check out Disney, even though, nothing's happened at Disney yet. But it's that constant like reminder of stuff is coming. I think with these land announcements, it's, like we said, this is them testing the waters. Yeah. And I think Disney is really going to be watching what Universal kind of does here with the new park. And I don't think they're going to want to just replicate it, but I think they may take notes from what worked and what didn't work, because I don't think they're 100% convinced that it's going to be, that Universal is going to knock it out of the park. Not saying that Universal won't.
Oh,
I think Disney's
Nintendo Land, they are.
Not playing all their cards.
Disney, once Nintendo Land comes, it's over. They might as well close the doors at Disney, I feel like.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, come on now. I know you guys think differently. I don't think that's going to even make a dent, but I
will. It's enough for me to shift my attention over to Universal. I don't. Again,
listen. If you can get Trevor on board going to Universal, you've already just won.
But again,
you've already won.
But again, he's still gonna go to Disney though. Like it's not just opening Nintendo Land is not.
I don't know. Maybe
there's not gonna be people that are going. Oh, I'm done with Disney
Nintendo
now.
Land, and then doesn't want to ever go back to Disney again. You don't know. Multiverse. You don't know.
Well, All right. Well, I'm just saying, like, you know, I don't think anyone's gonna go, oh, Nintendo Land's open, I'm never going to Disney again because Nintendo Land's open. Like, I don't know. That's just
if you heard what I said, maybe you'd think differently.
No,
I think it would have to be Nintendo Land would have to be the size of Epcot for me to be considering it.
So you're just gonna quit Disney for one attraction and a people mover ride?
No. That's
I
what
like
I'm
that,
saying,
though, Trevor. But what if it was that big?
If it was that big, I would be excited. I would be really happy.
See, but that's not the point, though. The point is that he's even thinking about it. If it was that big, should tell you all you need to know.
But it's not.
I've been a diehard Nintendo fan since I was 5 years old. So
yeah, I mean it's 2 attractions. I mean, it's a day, a half day.
It's going to be 3. It's going to be 3. Relax yourself.
Well, okay, 3, still half a day. Like, I mean, I don't know. We don't even know what's going to be in the other parks, right? Like, we don't even know what's going to be in the other lands within that park. Like, they really haven't said much about it. So I don't know. I don't think that this really scares Disney that much. I just don't. I think they view more people in Orlando as a good thing, and more people. I mean, and again, it's also
right. Is there any more D23 stuff? My Chromebook is starting to look very sad.
Yeah.
Its battery is looking sad.
There's more Disneyland stuff. But yeah, no. I mean, that's
definitely not.
It's pretty much it, though. That's pretty much it. They're going to do some 100th anniversary stuff. There's going to be a new World of Color, at Disneyland, and there's going to be a new Magic Happens is coming back, which only ran for like 2 weeks before the pandemic hit. So the Magic Happens parade is I've watched it a million times on video. It's very good. What
Tom? What were we going to talk about before D23 though?
What were we originally going to talk about?
Yeah,
not a whole lot. I mean,
is there anything on?
No, it's pretty.
Is there anything on that list?
Let me see.
You had some weird stuff on here, Tom, like the Disney Munchlings and
the Disney Munchlings.
I only put it on there because Damon commented on the post in our group about it that he thought it was kind of cool. So I threw it on there for.
They look cool.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They look cool.
But what's Disney Me again?
Disney Me is like the Wii characters from Nintendo, but Disney versions in the app. Wait,
so what is this game that everyone's talking about? By the way,
what game? Oh, the one.
There's some new Disney game.
Oh yeah, my wife's just started playing it. Actually, it's like a combination of Animal Crossing and Disney. I forget what it's called though. Oh man, my wife just started playing.
Of course, Tom doesn't know what it's called.
It's Dreamlight Valley, right?
Yeah, Dreamlight Valley. Yeah, no, I literally bought it. I just don't remember.
That's funny.
I bought it for my wife for Switch, and she's been playing it, and it's been described as Animal Crossing with Disney characters.
Oh, and I never got to talk about the things you guys talked about last week. What was that again?
What did you want to talk about that we talked about last week?
No, there was 2 big things. There was Disney Prime, and then what was the other one?
I don't know. I don't remember anything we do on the show after we did it.
Huge. Wow, that is terrible.
I have a poor memory, and then I also have a lot of things going on that the new lounge.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember what I felt like about. What did you guys say about Disney Prime? Did you say anything good?
What the price point's going to be? What it's going to include? Yeah. Well, no, it's I mean, that's really what we speculated on. So.
I complained that it needs to be like Amazon Prime and that the shipping is actually reasonable if they're like doing merch through it, because right now buying from Disney is just terrible for international.
Is there going to be any park perks with it?
We don't know.
I'm actually a little upset.
Yeah,
I'm also a little upset about these Disney Plus ears. How much are they going for on eBay? I feel like they must be going for like $1 million.
The Disney Plus ears? I have a pair from Disney Plus Day last year. I could just give you. Actually,
no, I don't want them. I just think that they're kind of cool.
I actually, you know what? I don't have ears. I have a hat because I was in the parks on Disney Plus Day last year. So just by happenstance,
I think the ears are pretty cool.
Yeah, no, they are pretty cool. There's no information about this Disney Prime thing. It's literally in the very early stages of being designed. So
yep. I feel like there was something else huge you guys talked about.
The Disneyland DVC lounge.
Oh yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. It looks very
super
cool.
Excited.
Yeah.
I'm super excited that I'll never see it, but I'm still excited about it.
That means potentially more lounges in the future.
Yeah. That's not it's not a bad thing,
like that.
Right? So,
nope.
Okay. So, Damon, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about from last week, or was it just those 2 things?
No, I don't think those. Were there any good listener questions that we're definitely going to answer next week?
Let's see.
We're holding them all for next week.
Well, we can hold these till next week, except for Dan's question.
When's Tom going away? What did we decide we're doing? Tom's going to go away, and we're just not going to have episodes.
The 30th. No, we're gonna record wait lists.
We have 2 more weeks before he goes, so
we
will make sure we get some wait lists before then.
I think the only question I want to answer here is Dan's question. What's the right way to eat a cinnamon roll? Peel it and eat it, or just bite into it? That's a tough question, man.
I'm going to tell you, when we went to go visit my son at college, there is a cinnamon roll place. Like, it's not like a chain or anything. It's a one-off, and they were ridiculously good. I feel like it really depends on the day. I can go either way with that question.
I can go either way too, actually. Yeah, I feel like I've eaten them both ways, depending on the cinnamon bun. You know,
I feel like it's based on the size and also the type,
the amount of frosting,
topping.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If the frosting's not thick enough, then you can't peel them.
I agree. Yeah,
I feel like
See, I always try to peel them because I always like saving the center with, that has the most amount of cinnamon and sugar and stuff.
Which is the best.
I always try to save that for last. Yeah.
Wouldn't you also agree that the first bite on a slice of pizza is also the best?
I agree.
I will say slice of pizza.
There's also very few things that are better than the last bite of a drumstick ice cream with the waffle, all the fudge on the bottom of the waffle cone. Yeah, man.
I don't love fudge, but I can understand that. Yes.
You could feel that, right? Like, you guys, they actually sell them.
I don't love that, but I can feel that. Yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, I feel like if the cinnamon bun is kind of like drier, like you have to peel it, right? Like if it's like a moist one, you can bite into it. But if it's like kind of drier on the outside, you kind of have to peel it. I don't know.
Yeah, you want to eat all that dry stuff first before you get to the good stuff.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I also feel I'm going to feel terrible for Tom because I feel like this editing is going to be like the rest of your night, man.
It's a total mess.
All right, let's finish up.
All right. There's nothing else we want to talk about here? I don't think so, right?
No,
I think we covered lots.
I'm just going to call this one the D23 episode. That's the title of this episode, the D23 Show. That's what it is. Done.
Yep, that's all we need.
That's all we need. Named the D23 Show, named a description of the show. The guys talk about D23. That's it. All right. So let's wrap it up.
Okay. So as usual, if you guys want to reach out to us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys, getting your trip reports, questions, all that kind of stuff. Keep it coming. And you can also follow us on social media, on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast, YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast as well, and Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. Make sure if you haven't joined the Welcome Home Disney waitlist group, check that out, because especially after all this D23 talk, I'm sure there'll be lots of discussion in that group this week. And frankly, it's a good place to have good discussions about Disney. We run a very positive group. I know that there's lots of Disney groups out there, but ours is definitely one of the chillest out there. So please consider joining the group. If you'd like to support the podcast, go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out the merchandise we got there. All the usual stuff. There's mugs and t-shirts and hats. No, sorry, not hats. Haha, kidding.
Oh, man.
If you want a hat, Yeah, I know.
You don't even have any more hats. We're out of hats. All hats.
Yeah, I guess we are out of hats at the moment, but we'll have some more for future giveaways and stuff like that. But yeah, go check out the store for any merchandise if you want to support the show or just get some cool stuff there. You can also check out patreon.com/welcomehomepod if you want to support us through Patreon. There is also exclusive merchandise through Patreon as well that you can't get on the store. And Patreon also gets you access to the Discord server, which, again, I'm sure we're going to be having some great discussions this week on there after all the D23 stuff. I've already seen some of the announcements. Not the announcements. I've seen some of the comments on Discord from people talking back and forth about the announcements. We should quickly shout out to Ashley, who has been posting stuff in the group from D23 for the last couple of days. Thank you so much, Ashley, for doing that. We're glad to have your insight on it, because obviously none of us could be there. I hope everyone else in the group enjoyed it, because it was great to kind of see some of that stuff from the show floor that we wouldn't have been able to see otherwise.
I think we can promote Ashley from unofficial Welcome Home podcast representative at D23 to official. Okay, she's our official. She was even representing the podcast with the Haunted River Country shirt too. So
yeah, that was very cool.
That was very
cool.
I think she's going to be the next person that gets the title. I hate to say it for everyone else.
Oh, she's going to get a group title. Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
I think so. I'll have to sleep on it first, though. I'll have to sleep on it.
You're really going to start upsetting Dan here. Dan's going to be very upset. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, but yeah, I was gonna say, you know, I appreciate Ashley sharing for us that couldn't make it down there. I still think it's cool that we even got one of our shirts there, which is
that's amazing. Yeah,
that's cool in and of itself. But yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed our rundown of D23. It was definitely a hot mess episode. But last thing, if you guys want to review this on iTunes or Spotify, leave us 5 stars. It'll help more people find the podcast. And, we do love hearing reviews from you guys. If you have feedback for us, positive or negative, as long as it's constructive is all we ask.
I hesitate to read the review we have this week because Turbo Redneck decided to chime back in. And if you remember, I read Turbo Redneck's review weeks ago.
A little while ago, yeah.
Yeah, so Turbo Redneck has updated their review, and I was very correct of who Turbo Redneck was, and it is Jeremy, because he says, the memes are amazing, the show is pretty good, but in the Facebook group, the memes following the show crack me up, especially Jeremy's, that guy is so funny. Really, Jeremy? Really?
All right.
Okay. You got your read. All right.
Yeah.
Of course, also, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify.
Wait, did you fix the Google Podcast?
Yes, Google Podcast is fixed. Yes. Nobody should have any problems now downloading the podcast after this episode. So everybody should be good now. Anyway,
gotcha.
Tune in, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any podcast app out there. You can find us. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult the DVC representative or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to our sponsor of this episode, Monera Financial, and also, of course, World of DVC as always for being longtime supporters of the show. So please check out Monera or check out World of DVC to for all of your DVC related needs, financing, purchasing, resale, all that great stuff. So join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion, of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.